And there can be a little more understanding because the careful considering to be one's own understanding. We don't have to say this is the Buddha words or anything at all. Just talk about now. See, for example, we can just talk at leisure about seeing right now, or what is there? Just one question. So everyone can consider about the truth. One can say seeing, the other is thinking, the other is liking, so on, to understand it in one's own idea and one's own consideration. So now, see, now is now. Okay. What is there now? Very simple question, no need to talk about whether in what book, what page at all. So we are talking about what is there now. Very interesting situation. What is there now? For just talk about it. Just talk about it. What is there now?
But it changes so quickly.
That's your idea about what changed very quickly?
And there's seeing, and there's hearing, and there is liking, and there's disliking.
Yeah, but it's only idea again, right? But now we are talking about the question like, what is there now? No thought about changing all the time, but what is there now? Little by little. To know how much there's no understanding about the truth of it, because it's all about idea, about what is there. It changes very quickly and so on. But what is that which is there now that we haven't known before at all? We have known about it before. There is seeing, right? If we don't talk about seeing, what would anyone say? What is there now? No need to follow the text or anything. Just what is there now? Kuntu, what is there now? See, anyone can talk about what is there now. Can we?
Carmen's main concern, she was mentioning before coming here, is she thinks there is too much emphasis
I don't mind.
now
I don't mind at all.
on Paramatta Dhammas.
I don't mind about Paramatta Dhamma, what you're so concerned about. I just want to talk about what is there now, but to have one's own idea whether there is any understanding of what is there now. Even it's there now, just to find out.
But what I do not understand is what you are saying just now.
Yes.
Is, of course, there's hearing, and next moment there's seeing.
Okay.
And there is
we can talk about one reality
thinking.
at a time.
Yes.
Now, so what are we going to talk about now? What is there now? That is the answer that they are going to talk about it. What is there now? Even
But
to know what is there now, it needs considering. Or what is there now? Usually, naturally, what is there now? As usual.
But if I say what is there now, then it's conventional.
No thought about anything at all. We just talk leisurely about what is there now. Can we talk about anything like, how are you, where are you, just a moment ago? But what is there now can be the question too. To talk about that which is there now. Otherwise, we don't talk about that which is there now at all. We just talk about the story, but just what is there now.
But the moment I say what is there now, it is a story already, because it's past already.
Is there seeing now?
Yes, and next moment there's hearing.
It doesn't matter, just is there seeing now? Yes, for sure, it's there, right?
There's more thinking.
No, Do we have to think about seeing? It's there now. It's not thinking.
Seeing is not thinking, yes.
That's why we don't just talk about theory, but we just talk about what is there, little by little, to understand what we're talking about is so real, but never thought about it before. Is that right? So I'm interested in seeing because there is seeing right now, and I would like to talk about it a little more, about seeing. Okay. Before seeing, is there seeing? Before seeing, is there seeing?
In the no
No. So now, how come seeing? It's there.
conditions.
Okay. That's why it's one's own understanding. It's conditioned, right? What conditioned it to arise?
A lot.
Can thinking condition seeing to arise? No.
Can you explain that?
See, even seeing right now, we can talk about to begin to understand. Seeing. Otherwise, what can be understood in life if there's no understanding seeing because it's there all day? Every day, it's there. So if there is interest that in understanding seeing, it's better not to understand it at all. It's so common, so natural, it's there that it can be known as it is. Not as I see. So what's right and what's wrong, begin to consider about seeing. And when there is the understanding of seeing, there can be understanding of hearing too, because it's the same, that reality is real, but different moment, because the object is different, and the seeing, different moment from the hearing right now. Just learn about what is there in life closer and closer to this moment. Otherwise, it's only just the idea, thinking about it. So now I have a little more understanding of seeing. That before seeing, there's no seeing. But what is seeing? What? It's real. It's a reality. And how to experience or to understand the truth of it. If there's no attention to consider the truth of seeing right now. Otherwise, one thing that one understands seeing, right? That it sees, but what is it? See, no need to say that we are talking about Dhamma, we are talking about that and that. But what we are talking about, what is there now? Even it's there. It's not known at all because no attention to the nature, the reality, the characteristic of seeing. Seeing is not that which is seen. A little more. A little more. Right? And it's there, very short. Not long at all. Very, very short. Because there's not seeing now, there is hearing too, and thinking too. But they are different, aren't they? Does anyone make it arise, the seeing? So it's by conditions. Whatever now appears is conditioned to arise. Otherwise, it cannot appear at all.
But can thinking condition seeing to arise or no?
Never.
No, it's karma.
Never.
It's
so now think
vipaka, because it's vipaka.
that's not understanding the seeing, but think about the seeing.
You're laughing?
When you say it's vipaka, That's not understanding the seeing. That's you're thinking, yes. But when on the question of whether thinking can condition seeing, is it not possible from one's own experience to appreciate that seeing happens without having to think?
Yes, of course. But sometimes you can think and then you.
I'll use this one. We can share.
Oops. Isn't it? Yeah, because it's. Continue.
Well, Ajahn was just making the point that when we say, well, seeing Vipaka, we're just accessing our book knowledge. Mm-hmm. But she was asking you earlier whether thinking can condition seeing.
Yeah, the answer is no.
And the answer is no, based on, I'm saying from our own experience, we know that seeing happens regardless of whether we're thinking about seeing, wanting to see, right?
Yeah.
So we can say that even just talking generally, as Ajahn is talking generally without calling it study of the Dhamma, right? Mm-hmm. We can say from our own experience that seeing appears to happen independently of our thinking.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Whereas if we say seeing is vipaka, that's definitely something we've been told from the books.
Everybody is jumping.
I always get you two confused because you're both European sort of, but anyway, I think Carmen was pointing to the fact that by attention we look at this object and look at that object, and so it seems like the attention to certain objects is conditioned in some way by thinking about them. Is that where you have the idea?
Yes, and I was wondering if thinking can be a condition of seeing to arise.
Well, of course, the the succession of cheetahs is conditioned in various ways, so after thinking there can certainly be seeing, but because of our wrong view we tend to think I thought of looking at the book and therefore I'm making seeing arise.
No, that's not about how I meant it. It's more your way I meant it.
Without a visible object, something to be seen, can there be seeing?
No.
So visible object must be a condition, and without eye sense can anything be seen. So eye sense must be a condition, and the citta immediately before seeing has to be a condition, but that's not thinking. The Panchadvara Vajana citta, the citta which adverts the object, has to be a condition, but not thinking. So that's a conventional idea that I'm thinking about something and then they're seeing. So without what is to be seen, no seeing now. And it has its characteristic to be known, not just thought about from the book, because now the world is just the world of seeing. And when there is understanding of seeing itself, just the reality, that's the seeing, and what is seen, then no question, no doubt about, but what about the conventional world? Because that is the world at this very moment, just the seeing now. But the thinking and the doubt comes in.
Yeah, but the thing is, when we go to the thinking, what we talked about yesterday, seeing, sorry, the moment of seeing is gone. So it's if someone asks me seeing, it's already thinking. So what is now? Now there is confusion, but so it's what is there now is a really difficult question, because
But that is that's all thinking about it, thinking with confusion, thinking with doubt that,
For sure.
because we've read in the book, each cheetah rises and falls away so rapidly and seeing has gone instantly. But the point is that the characteristic of seeing can be known now, and at the moment of understanding, the characteristic of seeing just as it is. There's no thought about, but there's one cheetah after the other, and there's thinking about this and that, and because the reality itself, it's now, it's at this moment. This is the point. So it's not just the book study, getting the details right, but actually understanding what appears at this very moment, at the moment of when they're seeing the reality which experiences what is visible, that sees what is visible. No thought about thinking or hearing or how confusing this is. So this is why there has to be the careful considering of just one reality at a time.
And the question, what is there now, is just a starting point, because actually that can be answered in many different ways, but it can be said that there is seeing now, and hearing, and thinking. All of these things are valid answers to that question, but they are things that can be each considered independently of the other.
Yeah, but what my confusion is about is also what we spoke about in the car. If you ask me what's there now, I'm speaking about conventional truth. Because yes, there's seeing now, I understand there's hearing now, but that's conventional. Mm-hmm. But I guess, and maybe that's wrong, that what is there now is a question what is when it goes to the absolute truth. And that is so quick, I don't know. So that's where the confusion
It's the same
kicks
for everyone,
in.
because if you ask me what is there now, it's the same for me. Right?
But that theoretical, that intellectual understanding of the rapid arising and falling is still helpful in breaking down the idea that I am seeing and I am thinking.
True. But I think the confusion for me is when I sit here with Ajahn, I think, okay, it has to be about absolute truth. So then, what's there now? I don't know.
So that would be wrong to try and isolate seeing or various realities. That's not quite the way it is.
There is an implodation in my head because I don't know at that moment, because I think it should be absolute truth what I'm talking about.
You think you should know seeing is just seeing without any mix of hearing and thinking and so on that is normally in conventional life.
Yeah, but that's interesting, because what we talked about in the car, and please help me a bit in here, is there is a lot of, we talk about absolute truth, but let's say 90% of the day I'm living in a conventional truth. And when we talk about the Buddha's words, we talk about the absolute truth. And sometimes it feels a bit like we are ignoring a bit the conventional truth. And then there's my confusion for this moment arising, is that here we ask about the conventional truth, as I thought we were talking only about the absolute truth. So how, maybe you can help me a bit with how can we live with these two worlds? That could put it right?
We just talk about one moment, see, to understand how much each of us understand that in a moment. Okay, so the question is, what is there now in a moment right now?
Seeing.
Okay, we use the word seeing because it's there sees. We use the word seeing because it's there sees, right? But what is that? We don't go away from the moment of seeing to attend a little more to understand the truth of it. Otherwise, no thought about it at all, even it's there right now. So in order to understand it, to realize the nature of it as it is this the point of the question? What is it? Otherwise, there's no understanding of that which sees it's there and what is it. Can we say it's real? A moment of a reality sees, but still no understanding of the nature of it yet. Even so much we talk about by different manners, like vipaka and so on, cetasikas arising with it. But it's not the understanding of seeing. It's just thinking and talking about what we learned from someone or some words. We don't talk about the Buddha or anyone at all. We just talking about seeing in order to be a moment of more attention to the truth of that which sees. So it's there real. Before seeing, there's no seeing. That's why how can be seeing now appearing? Because before seeing, there's no seeing. So what is it? To arise, to be there, sees now. Anything is seen by that which sees. So what is it? This can be the answer for whatever is there appearing, because seeing now sees that which is seen, but never enough at all, as long as we just think about seeing that it sees, but no understanding of the seeing as it is. So seeing is that which sees or experience what is seen, little by little. So in truth, we have to go on, consider again and again what is seen. See, to understand the moment of seeing, what is seen. Theory, we talk about a lot, but what is that moment, the understanding of that which is seen? Begin to attend to the characteristic which is seen. At moment of seeing, it's not moment of hearing. So what is seen is not sound. It has to be that which impinges on the eye base. When we talk about daily life in general, there must be the eye or the special rupa, different from hardness. It's not soft. It cannot be smelled or anything, but it's there unseen, impossible to see it. Because what is seen is only that which can impinge on the eye base, and we use the word color or visual object, but it's only that reality among all realities, only one can be seen. Hearing, close your eyes. There can be hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. So in truth, a moment of seeing is not other moments at all. Only one, and what is there. The seeing is not that which is seen for sure. So the difference between the two is that which experience, when it arises, an object, no matter what, because it is a reality which experiences an object. If it does not arise at all, nothing is experienced. No world, no sun, no moon, nothing at all. So at moment of the reality which arises and experiences the object, only one object at a time. So at this moment of seeing, what is seen, beginning to understand the seeing and that which is seen, not just the word in the book. Now, it's so true, it's so real, it's not attended yet. So how can it be realized? And the point is that, can it be realized as it is, as what we begin to talk about it? That it's a reality which arises to experience an object only. And what about attachment? Is it there, real? That is another reality which is not seeing at all. And hatred, a reality which is not seeing at all. That's why we learn to understand what is there in a moment, from moment to moment. That is so true, so real. And we can use the word Dhamma for whatever is real. That's why we learn to realize the truth, to understand from the very beginning, because it cannot be realized by just sitting or concentrating on it or anything. Only right understanding from the very beginning has to understand how subtle each moment appears as something in truth is not. For example, what is sin? Someone would say a cup, but not the truth of that which is sin. So whatever is there now, many, many moments, many, many things, not just one moment of seeing at all, break it up into just one moment. Can there be anything or something in this room, as we used to take it for a class, a table? Impossible. That's why learning to be confident of the truth. The truth is the truth. One moment of seeing cannot be anything seen like cups, but it's only that which arises, otherwise it's not there. And the more consider about the truth from the right words about it, to understand the truth of it, that it's real. Seeing is real, and that which is seen is real. They are different. Arises and falls away in split seconds, right now, hearing, not seeing, but it seems like they are together in a moment. That's wrong. That's why beginning to understand what's right and what's wrong and what is true and what is not true. And since it's so true, can it be realized by
Conditions.
no attention to it at all? Or just begin to consider the truth little by little? That each moment there is the reality which arises to experience the object which is seen all day in life, every moment, arising and falling away by conditions. What is that which just is conditioned to arise, to see, and then gone, never to return, never to come back again at all, never to arise again in samsara? It can be proved to understand the truth in this life, from birth, the moment of the first moment in life, gone, and the second moment, gone. So there will be tomorrow. And without that which arises now and gone, can there be tomorrow? And if tomorrow will come back and sit here, it's not that which now sitting at all. So consider the truth that what in there is just the reality, different ones by conditions. Just learn to understand that it can be realized, but with understanding only, which let go the idea of something instantly after seeing and hearing, smelling, so on. So be truthful to the truth and right understanding conditions, satya barami. Be confident of the truth with patience, because no one can just experience the moment when it's there and gone, even it's now, just like that. But there can be a little more understanding to let go ignorance, not understanding the truth. So what says I? No one there at all. That's why there is the idea of I, because of ignorance of the truth. From eons and eons go, each moment, even right now. So right understanding is only the reality which can understand the truth, little by little, until it's strong enough. And how come these words? There must be the one who enlightened the truth. And after his enlightenment, he said, Dhammas are so very subtle because even it's right now, it cannot be realized instantly. It takes quite a long development of wholesomeness to understand a little more. That's why ignorance can get lesser and lesser at each moment of understanding. And that is the fourth noble truth of the Four Noble Truths. This is the only way to realize the truth. Because now who knows how much understanding of the truth? But it can be known now. Is there understanding? So it's not yet right there now. That's why it needs more and more understanding, firmer and firmer each moment, hearing about the truth, that it's there to be foundation to understand the truth of what is there unexpectedly. What time, when, and where, not known because future hasn't come yet. Nothing that we are talking about in the future hasn't come yet. But right understanding from now on begin to develop, to be firmer and firmer, to know that what is there now can be realized. While now it's ignorance, it doesn't get less and less as long as there are still moments of ignorance, at moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So just learn about the truth, and then who realize the truth that we have heard, begin to understand what is meant by realization or enlightenment.
But isn't it a bit of an endless road?
Say it again, please.
Isn't it a bit of an endless road? Takes forever.
Endless road.
It's a long road. It's a slow road. But back to your point and your question, life, this is the way to understand that life now, life in the past, life in the future, actually just consists of these different Paramatta Dhammas that we're talking about, seeing what is seen and so on. We think that the world, we think life are the cups, the tables, the arms, the heads, the people around, the books. This is our imagination, that this is what exists. But in truth, actually what exists now are just the moments of seeing what is seen, the hearing, the thinking. No matter how many stories are thought about, no matter how great the imagination, there's only thinking. So when you say that actually we live 99% in the conventional world, that's how it seems because of the imagination. But in truth, there's only thinking. So the reason that we're stressing about understanding just seeing now, just what is seen now, is to lead to the understanding that actually life now is just one moment of experiencing, just seeing now, just thinking now, and the table, the chairs, and all the people are not what life is now. And it's just the same whether at work, at home, in the temple, coming here, just the same. So it's all back to understanding the truth of what life is at this very moment.
And regarding your comment about endless road, I think you are questioning the value of travelling that road.
No, I'm not
No?
questioning it, but it is. So sometimes feels like, oh God, it's so much ignorance. Let's say it like that.
Right, but if one can see a road that hasn't been seen before, then it's a road worth travelling. Then isn't that something to be grateful for, rather than despairing about how long it might be.
Yeah, beautiful way of looking at it. For sure. But what Ajahn said, it is confident, and that has to is not there too much. Not that's not true, but otherwise, I'm for 17 years on the path already, so there is confidence enough at least to follow or to continue, but it
At least to come back here today.
and to come back. Yes, so there's enough confidence, but yeah.
Just to give you a small pause.
Thank you.
Oh, he's just lost it. Phil, very good to see you at home. And I know you have something you would like to say to Ajahn. So would you like to speak now? Ajahn, Phil has been to Gangajan a couple of times with us, and he said he would like to speak. Go ahead, Phil. Is it Phil? Yes. We can't hear you yet, Phil. You need to turn on your microphone, or turn on the, we can't hear you.
Would you turn on your audio? Perhaps in the meantime, may I make a quick point just to speak to what Carmen said? Carmen, can you hear me?
Just wait.
Oh, you got it.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, Phil.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, good, Phil. Go ahead.
You got me?
Yes, good. Go ahead. Take your
Sorry,
time.
I hope I didn't interrupt John there.
No, go ahead.
No. Well, first of all, I want to thank Ajahn Sujin, and hello, everybody. Nice to see you. I met you, as Sarah said, 5 or 6, well, maybe around 5 times up at, I call it KK. What's the actual name?
Yes.
Gangajan.
Yes, and we talked a lot. In those days, I was very interested in Sila and morality issues, and I still am, but we talked a lot about that, and you helped me a lot. And I just wanted to thank you because your teaching has remained with me over the years, and you explain things like nobody else does. And I'm hugely grateful, and for the way it helped to lead to Nina's book. So thank you. Thank you. And I'll make a gesture there that it's been a while.
Yeah. I appreciate so much about your interest in Dhamma.
Yes, I'm very grateful. I was actually going to ask about seeing invisible object, which is my favorite topic. So I'll think of something else. Maybe I'll ask, I realize more than ever these days that it's the same for everybody. I am such an important person. The world revolves around me. And I heard you talking once about being a rag or being a cloth. And I think
Being a dust rag or
being a dust rag. And that's really stuck with me. And if you could talk about that just a little bit to help. I know there's no easy solution, but I am such an important person in my view, and it would be great if I could let go of that a little bit, but I know it's many lifetimes to happen. But
Is there seeing right now?
yes.
Does it belong to you? Very
No.
important person.
Yes.
So what belongs to you?
Nothing.
So no you.
But I understand. I get that now. But if I listen to you all the time, but I can't. Somehow it just it's gone, and just everything rushes back in, and it's me again.
That's right, because not enough understanding of what is there as it is at all right now. For example, seeing, right? Just the
Yeah.
words about it, but the truth of it is not known because no attention to the reality which arises
Mm.
and experience the object and gone.
Yeah. And it's a dome of, you talked once about a dome of loba or a dome of ignorance. It covers everything. And there's just a few openings now and then. And that's just the way it is, I know.
That's why not enough at all to just think about it, but to
No.
begin to attend to the characteristic in order to realize the truth. It's only a moment
Yes.
of seeing and then gone. What
Yes.
is there is just in a moment and then gone. So what does not appear now, it's gone.
Yes.
Never be the
Yes.
same at all. In samsara, seeing
Yes.
is only one moment of seeing, not that
Yes.
in samsara
Yes.
or today or tomorrow. Just only one
Yes.
moment only. So where's you?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it important?
No, but yeah, I do appreciate you explain that so clearly, and you just cut through. Well, not always, of course, but that's due to conditions. But so often when I listen on these kind of topics, I just get it, and then I don't get it, but there's understanding, and then it's gone. But I know that's the way it is. That's samsara. That's ignorance.
Can seeing be realized the moment when it's there, arising and gone instantly?
Mm.
Because it's so true.
Yes.
Otherwise, there will be I again see, I again think, I each moment. That's why learn to understand little by little that this is the theoretical understanding,
Yes.
convention, talking
Yes.
about it as something all the time, but learn to understand what is there can be known, only it's there now. So what is
Yes.
now? That's why we keep on talking about it.
Yes.
Otherwise, we think about other things, not now at all. For example, what is it? What can be known?
Yes.
Not the story of what is it, try to find out what is it, but
Right.
in what is it known?
Yes.
Because it's there. Is it known? It, what is it? See, different moments. And only
Yes.
that which is there can be learned a little more. That
Yes.
if they're still thinking about wanting, expecting to experience other thing, it can never be as you
No.
wish.
No.
Because even right now, it's not known. That's why we just talk about this moment. But so many moments in a moment, but different moment, different realities. That's why we can talk about one reality again and again, again, not to forget
Yes.
the truth that it is just a reality. For example, seeing is that
Yes.
which arises and see, no matter
Yes.
right now. And the object which is seen cannot be anything at all. It's only
No.
that which impinges on the eye base, how tiny it is. Is the world so wide or is so
Yeah.
very tiny?
Yes. Yeah.
Truth. But as long as it doesn't appear as it is yet, we learn to understand one reality at a time. And even there is the understanding of seeing, it's no one, it's moment of conditioned reality arising to see and gone. That is not enough. That's why the more understanding of what is there at moment of seeing, more and more, on and on, can let go the clinging and ignorance to that as something or I, no expectation at all. When will it be realized? But now begins to develop to be foundation, very firm to understand what is there when time comes. And the right understanding can understand the truth today, right now. How much understanding of seeing right now? If not yet, it means that no use at all to expect to experience it somewhere and sometime by oneself. The idea of I can do or I am, no matter what. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
That is the only way, and that's the meaning of letting go at moment of understanding the truth. No expectation, because it's just a moment of thinking and then gone. So any moment in life is a test for one's own understanding about what one has heard. To be
And is listening to the Dhamma friend, to the good Dhamma friend, is that condition for this understanding to arise?
and the more understanding that in a day, how many moments of ignorance added, accumulated. So how can seeing right now be realized? There must be the understanding developed stage by stage. And this is only the first round of the following.
Yes.
So it's different from the second round. And how come the second round without the first round? So very firm to let go. Unexpected moment, even right now. But the pop up of the reality from moment to moment does not show up at all. That's why it's so very rapid at moment when it arises and falls away. The rapidity of the arising and falling away covers up the truth of this. And no matter what Buddha taught us about a moment, from moment to moment, what can be known is only through 6 doorways. For example, the citta before seeing is not known, and the citta after seeing cannot be known because it does not appear. So what appears now is the only reality that can be known. That's why no more thinking about going somewhere and doing something, because what is there now is very short. And if there's no understanding of it, how can there be the understanding of what is there just now? Just, is it known? Now, is it known? What is it? It's real. That's why understanding about the ignorance and attachment from moment to moment, eons and eons ago, is the only way to have firm confidence that only right understanding in a moment is the way. Samadhi, the first factor of the path, is there. Not enough until time comes unexpectedly. The moment of being aware with right understanding of what is there now. And that's the only way to let go the idea of self, because it's unexpected. Show up when it's there. And that is just the beginning of the second round. What about the third round? What about no understanding of any word about the truth to understand it so firm as the first round? And after the first round, the moment when right understanding with awareness is there of what is now, unexpectedly at all, that is the confidence of anatta-ness. All dhammas are anatta, all by condition arising and falling away. No one can stop the way it is. So the understanding of the truth is the letting go, the clinging and attachment to idea of self. At each moment, when there's no understanding, I see, I hear, I try, I like.
Thank you.
By the 3 rounds, Phil and anyone who's not clear, Jan is referring to the pariyatti understanding, the firm intellectual understanding leading to the patipatti, the direct understanding of the realities, leading to the pativeda, the realization of the truths. So without the firm foundation, the firm, confident understanding about seeing now, what is seen now, and so on, there cannot be the direct understanding. And when Ajahn mentioned no more thinking about going somewhere, doing something, I know Carmen would have raised an eyebrow because she thinks, oh, well, we're coming here. But the point is, it's still just now, always back to now. And I think Robert was about to speak.
Yeah, Ajahn, just 2 things. Today you mentioned to Carmen that there needs to be, or there would be, attention to things like seeing, if there's never attention. But at the same time, you've also mentioned to Phil, unexpected. There's like a slight conflict there, or maybe that's what the middle way is or something. What, can you explain a bit more on this?
Is seeing now expected?
I expect to see when I open my eyes.
Really, while we are talking, is there expected?
Well, I could say that, I'm expecting to see
No.
John or Carmen when I look.
I don't think so at all. What is the moment of expecting?
Expecting, I guess, would be wrong view or low power. Is that
We
what you
don't
mean?
talk about the word,
Okay.
yeah? It's different from seeing. And what is it? If it's not known, it's something or I all the time. The only way to let go the idea of something has to be the understanding of that, which is conditioned. Like now, see, thinking is conditioned, and each word is thought about, conditioned again and again and again. That's why nothing can arise without conditions at all. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So expecting is a reality conditioned by ignorance.
Okay, but what about attention? Earlier you mentioned attention to the seeing.
Attention is manasikara cetasika.
Yes, but attention can be
To the
akusala or kusala, right?
Attention cannot be akusala by itself because it's not attachment, lobha, dosa, moha. But whenever it arises, it attends instantly. Its nature, its function is there.
Can be kriya too, so it's attention.
Yes,
I guess.
I noticed that comment of the judge at the time, and I wondered how Carmen might take it, because it could have been read as directing attention, but I thought what Ajahn is referring to is just considering what one has heard about seeing and the nature of seeing. Without that consideration, the actual seeing could never appear.
Okay, so it's more a general thinking over these deep Dharma topics. Is that what we're talking about?
That's why to learn to understand the very subtle realities arising together. Vitakka is not attention, phassa is not vitakka, and so on. Otherwise, how can there be letting go the idea of seeing right now, or I am seeing?
If the Buddha says, pay attention, it doesn't mean you or I or anyone do anything. It means can understand the value of wise attention, wise considering of what life is at this moment, seeing now, so that the wise attention arises with the understanding at this moment. So it's not anyone to do anything, but understanding the value of what is true now is a condition for wise attention to accumulate. And
Ah,
it's always the seeing now, the hearing, the thinking, the attention is always unexpected. It always arises by conditions. No one can say or have any idea what reality will arise next, whether it will be wise or unwise attention, but it's never anyone who does anything or who pays attention, even if we use words like pay attention or attend to what is now. It means understand the value of those wholesome realities arising by their conditions, and the listening and considering what is true now is a condition for that attention to arise, but not by wishing or thinking of what is unexpected. Subtle, so the middle path is subtle, yes, because so quickly there's the idea of I doing something, I coming here, I pay attention, I focusing, but actually I cannot do anything at all, because no I. So actually there's just the world of Paramatta Dhammas, but because of ignorance it seems there is a world of I coming and going, doing this and that. So this is why we discuss about the reality now at each turn. And thanks, Phil. That was very kind words and good topic to bring up, helpful for everyone. Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
To say something?
Carmen, yes. Carmen, just to go back to, and Sarah has touched on this, just a couple of things. I'll perhaps go back in the order that you mentioned them. You mentioned the endless path. Well, of course, as you know, the Pali word for path is magya. And the path is not, I don't believe, is endless. Actually, I'm reminded of the Buddha. Shortly after he was enlightened, he ran into a fellow who asked him if he was an antajina, which means, has he conquered the endless? And of course, he said he had.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions or
okay.
topics you want to bring up, Robert?
No.
Not at the moment.
Yeah. Can I also make a comment about what Robert was saying, that we expect to see, like Carmen, and I expect to see the question is, without if I was blind, I wouldn't expect to see anyone or anything, and so we expect to see because we have the condition for seeing to arise. We are. If we were blind, we wouldn't have this expectation. So it is expecting by condition. That's why we expect to see, but by conditions, and without the eyes, there wouldn't be condition for expecting to see at all. Also, if we think about being blind, like in the sutras, like is compared to not understanding, being blind, and we are blind or almost blind in respect to understanding reality. So we don't see reality. We are like blind person. But do we expect to see reality even if we are blind in respect to reality? Is that because I can understand the expectation of seeing people and things, but about the expectation of understanding reality is more
But
groundless.
it doesn't matter what the expectation of expectation. When there's expectation, it's clinging. So whether it's clinging to understanding or clinging to a pleasant visible object being seen or clinging to the taste of food, it's just clinging again and again, thinking
I'm sorry, before I got cut off, the reception seems to come and go. I appreciated your points there. I appreciated your points there, Alberto, about equating ignorance with a kind of blindness, and that's very true. You made some good points there. The point I was going to make earlier on, Carmen, was that you talked about the endless path, and of course, as I mentioned, the word for path is magga, and it's headed by right view, and it's important that that is gradually at the initial level understood, and its application. So it's not. I don't believe it's endless, although it is very long. And Tanajan talks about Chirakala Bhavana, the long time cultivation of understanding at different levels, whether that's pariyatti or patipatti or patiweda. So yes, it does seem it's very long. And I think what gets in the way of that mostly is our wanting, which of course we know is attachment, and it's the idea of a self who wants to push things along more quickly than they can be. And the other point that I was just going to briefly touch on, because I know others are wanting to share here, is this aspect you talked about. 99% of the time it is, and Sarah has spoken to this in some degree, about that ultimately, because as Ajahn talked about the rapidity of rising and falling, we have this idea, and that's not understood as it truly is. We have the misunderstanding that there is somebody and something because of ignorance. So in actual fact, we can say 100% of the time it is paramatta dhammas, but because of the vipalasas, chitta vipalasa, sanya vipalasa, and ditthi vipalasa, and you might be interested to know there that the word vipalasa literally means thoroughly upside down, with viparias, to be thoroughly inverted, if you like. It's thoroughly wrong. So we live in the world of vipalasa, of these distortions that corrupt, if you like, or distort the nature of reality. So in reality, there is just paramatta dhammas, but because of ignorance, there seems to be these there's something and somebody. So it is, as has been spoken to today, the Dhamma is subtle. And what has also been spoken today, to some degree, is that the careful consideration of dhammas, careful consideration of understanding, whether that's pariyatti level, which can lead on to patipatti, but it's a slow path, it's a slow magga, if you like. So it does take, and what Tanajan often speaks about is kanti. kantiparami, which relates, as we know, to viriya. So it has to be the patient cultivation of understanding over time and time again and again and again. And if that is forgotten, and it happens because we're all developing the path to, we're all on that path somewhere to a lesser or greater degree when we've been fortunate enough to listen to Tanajan. But unless there's that careful consideration, it's so easy to misunderstand and to misconstrue the teachings. That happens very easily when there's not the careful consideration. So just briefly to your point.
Thanks, Sandra. We've got several people here waiting to speak. So at home, please put up a hand or a note if you're waiting, because we've got a lot of people here trying to speak too. Okay.
And I'd just like to follow up on something Sandra touched on there, with a quick comment on the dichotomy of the absolute and the conventional worlds. For the enlightened being, there is still the conventional world and the conventional truths. And there's no problem the fact that the conventional world is understood at an absolute level, and it doesn't have any impact on the ability of the enlightened being to live in the conventional world and carry out a conversation at a conventional level.
Can I comment on that, John?
Yes, but I'll just finish the point. So it's a question, I'm not sure whether you are creating whether in the background there's an idea that the two do not coexist happily, because they definitely do.
Yes, maybe not in my in my case, but yeah, I know they're together. Yeah.
I went to a meditation retreat, I think in 1989, and one of the teacher there said when she was in Myanmar and Burma, they were concentrating their way of doing it is they focus on realities very strictly and try and force out concepts because that's what they think the path is. And she said, so at one stage during this, she couldn't recognize people or anything because it was all just seeing, hearing, and there was just a sort of a blur and there was no concepts at all. So she was quite perturbed by this at that time, but it sort of shows you that that is not really the right way. The right way, things don't change. The concepts are always still there. We still know who our friends are and we still know what a table is and everything. We're not changing anything. It's just that understanding comes in rather than ignorance. That's all it is. Yeah. But
we've talked about it before, but we say it over and over again. Just consider. But still considering what is considering, because it's also conditioned. So it arises or not. So it's
just like the pay attention. It's not you considering, you paying attention. It means understand what is wise considering, what is wise attention. And it's not you understanding. Why are we speaking about seeing? Because it is a condition for understanding of seeing right now to arise. We talk about wise considering because it is a condition for wise considering to arise, not by expectation, or not by trying, but just naturally.
And we also talk about the considering that happens without even thinking that one is considering. Because if we have the idea that considering means focus on and pay attention to, then it's probably not what is meant by it has to be consideration that is conditioned by having heard the Dhamma, like after
what
this,
is it? Is it thinking?
like tomorrow. It's a kind of thinking, But there can be
thinking.
many levels of thinking going on at the same time. So while you're doing A, you can be thinking about something completely different, not even necessarily being aware that that thinking is going on, but it's there.
And it shows that any word spoken by the Buddha or Jan or any other Jan can be wrongly understood as doing something, while there's an idea of I, whatever is heard will be misinterpreted. And Betty has been waiting a long time to speak.
No. The only point when Alberto was speaking, I wanted to make the point that there is that implication of an I when there are when there's expectation, that's being done with an I, the sense of an I. So the more we understand, the more there can be recognition when the sense of I is arising with whatever is going on in life at that particular moment, whatever realities are arising, and then whatever thoughts are arising with that. And so it's very important too, as part of the learning and part of the understanding, to be aware of, to be able, well, to recognize when there's a sense of an I arising in the thought processes. So that it becomes more more detailed. There's more recognition of that sense of I arising whenever it does, and it's arising like 99% of the day. So.
Well, I think this will depend on the individual, because obviously there can be expectation that is just attachment without any sense of I. And
what do you think attachment is if it's not the sense of an I there?
well, they're different realities.
Yes, they're different realities.
And if you mean wrong view by sense of I, or what do you mean by sense of I?
A sense of an I, that I am doing this, I am doing that. So every time there's thinking, I'm reading the notebook, I'm picking up the pen, I'm picking up the glass. It's a sense of an I doing it. So that there's what
I think that whether there's that sense of I would depend from one individual to the other a lot. But even if it's
anything, any understanding depends on the level of the individual. So it's a matter of, it's not a question of it's a question of the matter of the individual who can recognize more when there's the sense of I.
But I think more important is to know if there is a sense of I, what reality that is. It could just be attachment. It could be conceit.
Oh, absolutely.
Or it could be wrong view.
Absolutely. Oh, sure.
And when Phil was talking about the world revolved around me, which I can perfectly sympathize with.
Absolutely.
Phil,
Yeah.
that me is conceit and is not necessarily the wrong view of self, because as we know,
why wouldn't it be the wrong view of self?
Sorry?
Why wouldn't it be a wrong view of self?
Well, because they are different realities. So the Sotapanna, for example, who has eradicated a wrong view of self, still has conceit.
Oh, of course he does, because he's not fully enlightened.
So for the worldling even, the idea of me, that is my interest, why is he doing it to me? Why aren't they paying more attention to me, etc.? That is conceit, as we understand it.
Oh, of course, mana is there all the time.
And there may or may not be wrong view at that time.
Oh, wait a minute. But wouldn't there be the implication that if there's ignorance and a sense of the sense of self and all that, wasn't that part of your wrong view? Part of wrong view, because I know when you talk. Wait a second. I know when you talk about wrong view, you seem to have a very narrow definition of what wrong view is. I may be wrong about this, so I want clarification as to where wrong view would not arise when there's when there's thinking of an I, say, or when it doesn't arise, because it seems to me that it would automatically wrong view would be there. If
I'm
there-
hungry, I'm tired.
Yes, that's
Wrong
wrong
view?
view because it's wrong view because it's being done with a sense of I.
Pretty color, clinging. Is it wrong view? Maybe, maybe not. Like just liking.
What
something.
kind of clinging?
Liking,
okay.
liking the color.
Yes.
Maybe not any wrong view at that moment of liking or expecting a tasty meal. Maybe clinging, maybe wrong view.
See,
so it
because
depends.
I guess I'm looking
I think
as a broader definition of what wrong view is. I'm looking at a broader definition. So to me, wrong view doesn't mean. It also means when there's thinking in terms of I'm doing this or I'm doing that. That's implies to me that wrong view would be present.
I think, as Jonathan said, Tana John,
Yeah, John is speaking. Could you all just pause at home?
At moment of being fast asleep, is there Betty?
Is there what?
Betty?
Is there Betty? Is there a Betty one? No.
Why not?
Oh, sorry. Because there's no attention on there's
There is attention.
there's
for sure.
realities arising, but there's no attention on the realities.
There is attention because there is citta.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Attention always arises, but
But at the moment of sleeping, fast asleep, no Betty, no I, no
Yes.
nothing at all.
Chai.
Is it true? Why not?
That's true, of course. But
why
isn't
not?
it? Why isn't it part of wrong
Why
view?
no one at all, nothing at all, or at all, at moment of being fast asleep? No prime minister, no servant, no teacher, no,
Yeah.
nothing at all. Why not? See,
Because there's okay. What reality then can we call
we have
sleep?
to begin from the very beginning in a day.
Yeah. Then
That's
what
it.
reality would we call sleep?
Is that citta?
Yes, there's just of course.
See.
If there weren't, it would be
But
dead.
why
things.
nothing appear?
And nothing. Because. Well, that's what I'm wondering. So, what reality is it that is called
That's
sleep?
why we learn about the truth. What can
That's a good
appear only
question.
through one of the six ways.
Yes.
At moment of being fast asleep, no seeing, no hearing, no
Right.
smelling, tasting, touching, or thinking at all. But there must be the reality which arises and falls away by condition.
Yes.
We use the term the karma, condition, vipaka, and so on. No need. But to understand the truth of each moment from the very beginning before we can classify it by different manners, different aspects.
Okay.
So at that moment there must be citta.
Right.
But nothing is known because it's not the experiences through the six ways.
Yes. Okay.
That's why what appears is only the object of this world through the six ways.
So in during sleep, yeah, the only.
And as soon as waking up, that moment, no thought about I wake up,
Right.
but it's there in truth.
Yeah.
And who wakes up?
Nobody.
I, right?
Yeah.
Like now, we don't have to say I'm sitting. But what about the feeling or the thinking or what is there as I am sitting, I'm talking, I'm seeing. If there is no reality which arises and experiences the object, no one there at all. That's why we learn what is there in truth, which
So-
cannot be anyone at all, but it's there already by condition. Just
Okay.
wake up.
All right.
I or being now, that which experience.
So this does. So when the sense of I arises, we cannot consider that wrong view. I see that's what I'm
There are
not
four
clear on.
kinds of asava,
Oh, okay.
not anusaya, but asava. Anusaya does not arise at all.
Okay.
It's there accumulated. And it's ready to rush out or ooze at moment when something there as the object is experienced, no matter what.
Okay.
Even at moment of waking up, something is there to be experienced. And who experience deeply? I. Pavasava, Tidasava.
Yeah.
Pavasava is being there. The reality which experiences the object is the being, not the hardness and so on.
Yeah.
So it is Pavasava with Vichasava.
All right.
No understanding at all that it's just a reality, not I. So it conditioned the Pavasava, Avichasava conditioned Pavasava, and Didasava, I, no one. And when the object is there, experienced, it is attachment to that instantly as asava, unknown.
Right.
Even right now, the object is only that which appears, that is seen only. Attachment is there to whatever appears. That's why we learn to understand that the self or the wrong understanding, taking that for me or I. So very subtle and so
Yes.
very deep, not just now, at any moment of seeing, it's there. No understanding. Hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, not just only this life, eons and eons, uncountable eons. So how can it be let go instantly or quickly or very soon? Impossible.
Right,
That's why
yes.
there are 3 rounds of Ariya Satya.
Yes.
And one round is not just one word. Just understand them all.
But what I wanted to understand is why it's not wrong view.
Because there are 4 asavas, so this is the very subtle ignorance and clinging, and that subtle clinging, kamasava, bhavasava, no wrong view at that moment. So when it's ditasava, it's with wrong view. And the clinging conditions stronger and stronger clinging with or without wrong view. So we cannot say that whenever there is clinging, it's with wrong view.
Okay.
So at the moment of, even before there's any idea of yellow or tablecloth, but just an impression, it can be just liking, or it can be liking with wrong view at that moment. When it's so subtle, it's completely
then-
unknown, only when it's strong and more apparent.
So then how would you then define wrong view? I probably am not defining it wrong.
So when it is the idea of something there, even before it's in words, but something yellow color, something there that's seen, it's wrong view. But when it's just liking what is seen, no wrong view. And now liking the color, which can just be attachment, but it might be an idea of something that, you know, the t-shirt,
okay,
something
okay,
there,
I got
this
it.
person here.
Right.
One
But
Thank you.
only
comment to that.
Panya can know.
Yeah, please, John.
I think it has to be a view about the way things are in reality in order to be a wrong view. So just, a table or a chair doesn't, because there's no implication as to the ultimate truth of things there.
Thank you. This is great because it cleared up this
And
thing for me.
even things as a glass, just having the idea that there's a glass on the table doesn't seem to me to involve any view about the way things are, the reality of things.
But it would become a wrong view when there's the thought that that's really what it is.
That's an absolute, yes, there's a table
And actually,
there.
even before that, because we know how subtle it is, the asava is so subtle, just an impression of something, someone, long before there's any thought about glass or cup, but just
Yeah.
the idea of something there. So as understanding develops, it's going to understand more and more subtle degrees of wrong view.
Well, when the Buddha died, Ananda cried, right? And he had no wrong view. Ananda, he cried a lot, you know, and I didn't think that he would die so soon, and carried on and so on. The Arahats, of course, with no conceit or any defilements, didn't cry. But Ananda had no wrong view. But he still, well, yes, but he still was thinking that is the Buddha. So if we think this is an orange T-shirt, that doesn't necessarily mean there's wrong view, I would say. I'm more on what John is explaining, I must say. But however, of course, there's the asava, the dit asava, but that's not...
Like you say in Ananda's case, no ditasava, because it's been eradicated, but there can still be strong
Karmasava.
to the dear one,
Karmasava.
to the one next to one. Ditasava, no more ditasava, no more wrong view because it's been eradicated, but still clinging to what is beloved.
So what you were saying there, Robert, that's Karmasava. In the case of Ananda, he hadn't eradicated all attachment. And of course, he had great attachment and a tremendous amount of wisdom.
Yes, but it's not asava because it was strong attachment, not the very subtle attachment enough to condition tears. So it's not karmasava, it's strong.
Well, can't we say, Sarah, can't we say, Sarah, that karmasava will condition stronger attachment? There's no question about that.
John, when someone thinks this is a cup, as far as I understand John, and I agree with John, that wouldn't necessarily be wrong view, right? That's just thinking.
When wrong view has completely, ultimately eradicated no wrong view anymore.
Yes.
Otherwise, how can there be the kilesa, nibbana,
Yes.
anupatisesa, nibbana, anupatisesa or sa-upatisesa, nibbana. Sa-upatisesa means kilesa, completely, absolute, eradicated. One by one, or we can say no more idea of self and no more vicikitsa about the truth.
Right.
Because of understanding that actually what is that cannot be taken for anything like I or something before it can be absolutely eradicated. Otherwise, what's meant by Nibbana? The end of kilesa stage by stage. So even I have no wrong view about the moment of the Dhamma arises and falls away, but what is seen is Kun Robert.
Yes. So that's
Remembering.
That's not ditty.
No.
No. Right.
No.
That's what I'm trying to get at, clarify here.
And that's why for Ananda, it's still the Buddha, it's still the one that is so dear and so on.
No, I just wanted to clarify what you were saying earlier, Sarah, when you said as soon as you think it's something, because...
When it's the idea that it's something there, doesn't mean for the enlightened one, still a cup, a table, but it's not something, a thing, an utter. So it's a different... As soon as...
Explain a bit more.
Yes. So actually what is seen is visible, and we refer to this as a cup, a saucer, and so on. But in truth, it's nothing there. So when there is no wrong view, it's still a cup, a saucer, but there's no illusion that actually there is something that the conventional world actually exists, that there really is a cup in reality, because one knows only visible object is seen. So
No,
utter
there's
doesn't just mean someone, it means someone or something as existing.
The fact is there's some basis for everyone to have the idea that that's a cup on a table. So there are realities the underlying that concept. Yeah, but one doesn't take the concept for the reality.
Now, when there's no understanding, it's permanent. It does not arise and fall away. But when it's realized, no doubt about what is there arises and falls away.
Okay, so people like us, say, some of us, or that have listened for years, we have quite a firm...
For years, not for eons.
Not for eons, but we still have generally, whenever I think about, if I want to think about a cup, I know theoretically or intellectually, there's just kalapas there. It's gone instantly whenever I think about it in that way. So that's, how often would I have wrong view then? There must be still subtle wrong view there. Asava definitely, obviously, but even sometimes parayutana as well. And I'm just trying to maybe get a little bit, when is it parayutana?
Okay, we're talking about seeing right now, that it arises and sees,
Yes,
but it does not appear.
yes,
And whatever is there, hardness is there, taken for a cup. Even it's hard at moment of touching, the idea is there. Until Panya develops on and on and on and on, until it realizes the truth or the reality of it, that it's not the touching, it's only that which is touched. No doubt about the truth. And now we heard a lot about seeing. Is there still doubt about seeing?
yeah.
There must be doubt, because it's only the first round of the Four Noble Truths. And the second round is not the third round. That's why even its right understanding, there's many stages, many levels of understanding. When it's just the first round, it's not moment of being aware instantly with understanding of only one reality. For example, seeing, not yet. As long as no beginning to understand the nature that experiences what is there, different from that which is seen or experienced. That's why there must be the understanding about the three rounds of the teachings, not just patipati without the first round, because pati in Pali means particular, and pati is to reach or to attain the truth of it gradually with a little more understanding until it's more and more and more and more experienced. So naturally, just like now. That is a little more firmer understanding of anatta, to let go the atta, nudity.
Now, as soon as their seeing has fallen away so quickly, something there, so quickly, something touched. So the ditthi follows very, very quickly and commonly, long before there's any idea of, oh, and truth, there are only kalapas here and so on.
Well, what's the time? We got time to carry this on before lunch? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, I'm still... Yeah, I'd still like to clarify a little bit more when wrong view is at the parayutana level for people that know intellectually that things are arising and passing away. Every element, like we all know, or most of us know, that this, what we call a cup, is just kalapas arising and passing away, that the past has gone completely. And yet in daily life, I just think, oh, there's my cup. Sorry, that's your cup, but here's my one here. Well, I will drink water out of this cup. Now, is that when I'm thinking I will drink water out of this cup without thinking about kalapas and whatnot, is that wrong view at the parayutana level, or is it just thinking with ignorance?
Panya knows
Okay.
because they are lopa without ditti and lopa with ditti.
Yes, and this brings us to the point that wrong view has a characteristic. Every reality has a characteristic, apart from the three common ones. So it can only be known by its characteristic and not by the situation. If I do this, if I think that, if I have a sense of I, whatever. That's how it's known to understanding.
Even when saying that there are only kalapas here rising and falling away, there may be ditti at those moments too, taken for something, so anytime. So the understanding is not the words.
Well,
So
just a general question then. Is ditti, which always arises with lopa, is that more common than lopa alone? I would have thought lopa alone, with only ignorance and without ditti, is more common than ditti and lopa in a day.
When there is the understanding, titti, it can understand moment without ditti. For example, thinking that one can realize the truth without any understanding, without the first round of noble truth. There can be patipati, because misunderstanding that patipati means practice or meditate. But what about the understanding? Only the understanding can understand the true nature of what is there as not self, not permanent at all. When it is permanent, it's I. But when that which just arises and falls away instantly, whatever is there, appear, pop up, can there be wrong view? Because even that moment is no one at all. That's why thinking that without the first round of understanding the vulnerable truth so firmly, there can be patipati by one try so hard to do something, no understanding each reality as it's not anyone or any self. For example, awareness of each cetasika is so very subtle. That's why can anyone think about vitakka and awareness, or manasikara, or panya? Even they are there now, but they do not appear. That's not the moment when there cannot be any understanding of it. But what is there appearing? Only at that moment can that be object of understanding. If it does not appear, we try to make it appear. That's why Buddha said, don't mind about the past and about the future because it hasn't come yet. But now what is there? Now is not known and thinking about many things. That's not the way. So how very difficult and subtle to know moment when it does not think about other thing, try to find out, work out, but now, just right now. If it's not known, it's never been known.
And even now, Orange, actually Panya can understand this moment, whether it's Loba or Ditti is there. But yeah, not by thinking about it, just when
Sure.
it's
Good.
something there.
Good, all good points, John, Ajahn and Sarah. And that's why we see sometimes people are very good on the word book knowledge of Abhidhamma, but they've still got Sila Bhatta Paramasa in a very strong way, which is a type of wrong view. So it just shows you that even we think anatta, but there can still be ditti there.
Because however much is known about kalapas and all the other details, there may be no understanding
yes,
of
right.
ditthi right now.
And to be true to the truth, those who understand the words about Dhamma right now, they do not understand Dhamma at all. If there's no understanding that now it's Dhamma.
Whenever there's thinking about the truth, there can be right thinking or wrong thinking about the truth. And that can be known by characteristic. But when there's not any thinking about the truth, then as far as I understand it, it couldn't be the right view or wrong view. It's just thinking with attachment, conceit, aversion.
This is where I'm still a bit unsure, John, because in that case, animals would never have wrong view, would they? Are we? Because they don't think about things; they're just thinking, "This is food. I'm going to eat this."
Right.
They're not thinking about reality per se.
Right. That's as I understand it, yes.
Okay, so
Ask them.
yeah, we don't know.
No word about ignorance or understanding at all.
Just before we finish, wishing Anne at home and Betty here very happy birthday. Hope you both had happy birthdays, and Anne, perhaps we'll see you this afternoon if you have anything you would like to bring up as a topic for first thing in the afternoon to celebrate your birthday. Very
Happy
welcome.
birthday, Anne.
I have something for everybody here. I'm not sure I have for
So we'll see you this afternoon at 1:30, those who can join.
Can I give these out to you first? First, I'd like to give to Ajahn, to Pijit, and Hudon.